Hello everybody, it's Landy again with another painting video challenge. Um, this month's challenge was to take a model of any choice and do something completely different and unconventional with it. We seem to have had a bit of a short list, but regardless, we've got some really great work by a lot of people. And so yeah, and this is actually one of the first times that I didn't have anything that I felt really confident in turning in, but I still went ahead and got something in. But just wanted to say a big thank you to everybody, one, for being so patient with the lateness of this video, but two, bravo to everybody who turned something in, because there's some really great work out there that was really unique, that I would have never thought of in a million years. So without further ado, let's go, like Dan says. Our first entry is by Scott Jennings, and he's got a combat servitor that he's kind of mashed together with body parts from a corn blood guy from the AOS set. Looks like he's also used some Astra Militarum parts, possibly from the Tempestus Scions, and a couple of other bits and bobs here, and then some Chaos Warrior parts too. Overall, it turned out really cool, really unique, and it doesn't look super evil and chaosy, so it fits perfectly with the inquisitorial band that he's intending it for. So, really great job there. Let's see here. Moving on to our next entry, we have Mark Van Ard with another wonderfully amazing Dark Angel, Primaris Dark Angel, for his fourth company that he's been painting and showing everybody here in the group. This one he's decided to paint up as a company veteran. Really outstanding work overall that he's been doing on this army. The colors are really sharp and the highlights are really pronounced. As with all of the other work, he's really managed to capture a style all of his own and make it unique throughout the entire army, but still feel pretty cohesive. And then of course the converted bits on this guy are going to be stuff from the Dark Angel sprue, and then looks like also the shield, storm shield off of a Terminator. So all those bits combined create a really cool pose and a really cool loadout for this veteran. And so, awesome job with that one, Mark. Next up after that, let's see here, we should have Jamie McKendry with his Blood Angel Company Master with a jump pack. I believe it's actually called the Execution Master or something like that, from the regular Space Marine line, but he's gone ahead and painted him up in like the Death Company colors, and then added some wings from the Sanguinary Guard to kind of give it that really imposing look, and then of course the stoic pose, even though he's striding forward with that ginormous Executioner axe that it comes with, just really looks awesome. And the red that he put in the wings really reinforces the color scheme, and reminds you that it's a Blood Angel still. And the face is really expressive. I know that the sculpt itself has really good detail, but Jamie managed to bring it out and really not let it get muddled or lost in the sea of black armor and everything surrounding him. So awesome job with that one too. Let's see here. Next up we have Randy Brown's, I believe it's a Goliath Ganger. I know it was originally, I don't know if that's what he's still using it for, but it's converted to be wielding that really nasty looking heavy flamer. And he's running forward with it, so you would really hate to be on the other side, the receiving end of that flamethrower there. But it's a dynamic pose for being what I think some of those poses out of the original stuff look kind of static, but he's got quite a bit of movement in it, so that turned out really good. And then let me scroll back to it here. I'm sorry, I've got all my photos all piled up in here, and I seem to have misplaced the one about there. Yeah. So, the next entry after that one is going to be John Ralston's Orc Boy, and it's actually an older Orc Boy from probably way back in the sands of time, maybe 3rd edition, 2nd edition maybe, because it's an older Orc Boy, so he's probably about 2/3 the size of the current Orc Boys. But in true Orky fashion, John's gone ahead and kitted him out with every possible bullet and weapon option he could, so that boy is ready to take on just about anything. And he kept the paint scheme pretty simple, focusing on the metals and stuff of the model for all the guns and stuff, so that's always cool because, you know, DACA, DACA, DACA. Kind of reminds me that I need to go back and finish a bunch of my orcs that are still sitting on the shelf. But it's always so nice to see a bunch of really well painted orcs, especially when you got about 30 of them sitting in a truck. You just hope none of them fall off. Let's see here. Our next entry after that is going to be Scott Jennings' Joan of Arc. He's actually combined a bunch of different kits to make this Joan of Arc. It's got a Sister of Silence body, Joan of Arc head from Infinity, and then I think he said that he also did some bits and pieces here and there, like purity seals and stuff, to make the look complete. And I really enjoy the color scheme because it's so different to see that particular model body done in silver, that it totally doesn't look like a Sister of Silence. So between that and then the head, it looks like a fantasy setting model, not necessarily a 40k or Horus Heresy army model, which is really fantastic. Really outdid himself with that one. It's really cool to have a knack for pulling together a bunch of bits and making something that looks so completely different from its entire parts. So really kudos on that one, Scott. Let's see here. Our next entry, and I think this is probably our biggest transformation, is by Josh Schaub. He took a old Mage Knight Gate Lord model and converted it into a D&D character all of his own called, I'm probably butchering the name here, Renwald the Destroyer. So it starts life out as a Mage Knight model and becomes this sort of demon dog soldier with a spear and the horns turned down. So between combining bits from other kits and then also taking household items like the Q-tip base that he used to make the rest of the pole for the spear, there's a lot of bits and pieces that went into this that really looked cool. I wouldn't have ever thought to combine the things that he did in the way that he did, but it turned out really awesome. So kudos on that one, Josh. I look forward to seeing some more of these crazy conversions if that's how they turn out, because they look really cool. Let's see here. Our next entry after that is by Steve Flershinger. He's got some old, I believe they were Grenadier. The name escapes me right now, which manufacturer they were, but they were intended to be what looked like cultist heads or something. To me, they actually kind of look like Cobra Commander's head. um, with that sort of tablecloth draped over it with the eye holes poked out. Space Ghost Coast to Coast kind of thing. Um, but in a weird twist, he took them and put them on the base to make these little slimes kind of crawling towards you. And with the colors that he used, obviously the bright greens and then the red in the eyes, they totally look like something completely different. And then, of course, grouping them together like slimes often do really drives home the fact that these things are coming to probably gum up your weapons and stuff and then swallow you whole without realizing it. So great job with those. Definitely a creative and simple use, but, keep it simple, stupid. Sometimes simple is the best, and in this case it looks really cool. So awesome job with that, Steve. And then next up, we've got Russ Sick, who did I'm not sure if it's a Wraith or a Banshee. What is the difference between a Wraith or a Banshee, now that I think about it? Somebody should probably leave that in the comments below. But the entry that he's got here, he's taken a column and probably like a resin cast base. I'm not too sure where it's from. And as it so happens, the model just fits perfectly around it. So it looks like it's coming out of the column. So that looked really awesome. And I don't think there was probably a whole lot of like modeling work involved, maybe some slight cutting and bending. But for the pieces to kind of fit together so perfectly was really cool. And the paint job that Russ has been doing on all his undead and ghostly models is simple enough that it's easy to create over such a large army, but it looks really good once everything's all painted and lined up. And then, of course, all the scenery pieces with their stone and dirt and rust and stuff look really cool, and they kind of contrast the bright colors of the ghost. So great job with that one, Russ. And then our last entry that we have here is by Thomas Broussard. He turned in not one, not two, not three, but 6 assault marines from the Raven Guard, which he's calling like a hunter squad, if you will. I'm not sure if it's a specific unit. It may be. I think that the Raven Guard had some sort of Forge World unit. This might be some sort of nod to that. But each of the models in this unit is a hodgepodge of bits. There's some Heresy era jetpacks, some of the jump packs from the Blood Angel Sanguinary Guard. There's some Chaos Lightning Claws, all kinds of different patterns of Space Marine armor and helmets and stuff. And then, of course, the Raven Guard bits here and there, and then the paint scheme, all souped together to make this really awesome unit that probably looks amazing on the field, coming at you, especially with all their lightning claws and everything. But yeah, he really outdid himself with all the different details to make each model unique, but still part of the same unit and same army. So awesome job with that one, Thomas. That's some really awesome work that you were able to do all those in such a short amount of time, and still keep them unified. Let's see here, and I think that is everybody. And yep, that's everybody. So I think this month's winner has to be Thomas Broussard, because the amount of work that went into the unit, not only in the one model, like the leader, but all 6 guys together to form that unit, just one unit, is really one, time consuming, but also it takes a certain how to know which bits go together and which ones really work together, and he's managed to pick a bunch of bits that did just that. And the paint scheme, being Raven Guard, some people might think that's kind of simple, but it's got that contrast in the deep bone color, and then the lightning claws and the other stuff that kind of helps add some contrast and interest to what would normally be just a really kind of dark mini. It adds a lot of color in different areas to kind of highlight and draw your attention to different spots. Even like on the boots, for example, there's just enough of a bone color to indicate some interest there. That draws you down to the base, and each base has some gribbly bits and stuff on it too. So overall, this unit is pretty outstanding, and is definitely a hodgepodge of bits. But that was the challenge for the month. So bravo, Thomas. You have raided the bits bin successfully and created an entire unit out of it. So kudos. And with that, we have concluded this month's challenge video. I'll be updating the page photo shortly, probably tomorrow after this is posted and everybody's had a chance to watch it. Just a heads up, our next painting challenge is going to be for the Gangs of Rome miniatures that Andy Hobday has been nice enough to sponsor and send out to people who decided to take the challenge and pay shipping to get them. Gorgeous minis, and I ordered one too, so I can't wait to follow along with you guys on this one. And keep an eye out for that one. I know that Dan's already posted the challenge guidelines and stuff. So if you want to get in on that, it's not too late. You can always still purchase a mini and have it shipped out to you. You've got a whole month to do that one. And then the really cool thing about this particular challenge, the Gangs of Rome challenge, is that at the end of it, we're going to have another video like we did with this one, as usual. But the winner is going to receive a 2-player starter set. With enough miniatures to make 2 gangs for 2 people to play with, and it's got all the tokens and rules and everything that you need to get going with a friend and get the game going, so to speak. So yeah, keep an eye out for that one on the page, and stay tuned for more. As always, don't forget to keep painting everything and don't drink the paint water.